Parliament approves a bill outlawing propaganda that discourages people from having children. Mixed feelings in Moldova ahead of Sunday's referendum on whether the country should join the European Union.
EU leaders wrapped up a long summit in Brussels agreeing to outsource asylum returns policy to third countries outside the European Union. The controversial proposals represent a major, tougher shift in EU migration policy. In particular, EU countries want to focus on the deportations of asylum seekers whose claims have been denied.
One of the main discussion points was a common approach to returns. Today, we see that all those who have no right to stay in the European Union, only 20% of those who have a return decision really are returned to their countries of origin.
Leaders also discussed potential responses to hybrid attacks from outside actors in Russia and Belarus, which have sent innocent migrants to the borders of Finland and more recently Poland in a plan to destabilise the countries. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk suspended the right to asylum, a cornerstone policy of international refugee law, in response to the Belarusian attack.
A completely different situation is the pressure that Poland is experiencing at the eastern land borders. And before Poland, it was Finland, it were the Baltic states. What we see is that Putin and Lukashenko are exerting pressure on us, trying to undermine our security and our territorial integrity. These are hybrid attacks by state actors. And therefore, Poland and other member states need to be able to protect our union from these hybrid attacks.
What's clear is this is a whole new world for asylum policy and the European Union. What's not clear is how these return hubs will actually work. In particular, what happens to those asylum seekers who have had their claims denied when they're sent to third countries, and can their basic rights under international law be guaranteed? Shona Murray, Euronews, Brussels.
At least 22 people have been injured after a bus veered off the road and crashed in the western Turkish province of Afyonkarahisar. Local media said the accident happened on a highway in the province 250 kilometers southwest of the capital, Ankara. The bus was carrying a party of Japanese tourists and the cause of the crash wasn't immediately clear. All of the injured passengers, including one in a life-threatening condition, have been taken to local hospitals. People in Moldova head to the polls on Sunday to choose their next president and to vote in a referendum on whether the country should join the European Union. Opinion is split on whether joining the EU will provide the bright future supporters of the idea suggest. And some Moldovans prefer to maintain a cordial relationship with Russia.
Acest referendum are cu adevărat chiar o valoare existențială pentru noi, pentru cetățenii moldoveni, fiindcă va determina alegerile de civilizație pentru statul nostru și pentru societatea moldovenească. Noi cu adevărat suntem europeni în sensul că aderăm la civilizația europeană sau continuăm să rămânem sovietici și aparținem unei civilizații care a plecat în istorie.
Authorities in Moldova have sounded the alarm that Russia is trying to swing the election away from EU membership. Chisinau estimates that Russia has spent as much as €100 million to undermine the electoral process, including through coordinated disinformation campaigns designed to sway or suppress the vote. On Thursday, Moldova's Prime Minister advised voters to remain vigilant.
De voi, dragi cetățeni, depinde să opriți atacul asupra democrației. Duminică voi faceți alegerea. Ne întoarcem în trecut, singuri, fără resurse pentru dezvoltare, vulnerabili în fața provocărilor sau mergem în viitor, în familia țărilor civilizate.
Majoritatea tinerilor care am vorbit aici la Chișinău au spus că își doresc ca țara să facă parte din structurile europene. Pentru ei, integrarea europeană înseamnă locuri mai bune de muncă, dar și o realizare mai bună profesională. Moldovenii așteaptă în primul rând creșterea salariilor și investiții mai bune în infrastructură, în special în infrastructura rutieră.
Despite its detractors, recent polls put support among Moldovans for EU membership at around 60%.
Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar was killed by Israeli soldiers during ground operations in Gaza, according to the Israeli foreign minister. Sinwar, who Israel accused of being the architect of the October the 7th surprise attack which killed 1,200 Israelis, was announced as Hamas's new head following the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh. The IDF said in a statement that at least 3 militants were killed in a building and that they were checking the possibility that Sinwar was amongst that number. They later confirmed it was.
Drone footage released by the Israeli military shows what they say are the last moments before the Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar's death. The footage shows a man sitting in a chair in a room destroyed by shelling. His face is covered, possibly to hide his identity. As the drone approaches closer, the man grabs a stick with one hand and throws it at the drone. Israeli military spokesperson Daniel Hagari said the military then fired an additional shell at the building, causing it to collapse and killing Sinwar. The military confirms that 3 militants were killed in the operation. Yahya Sinwar's identity was confirmed by forensic verification, the Israeli police say.
Russia's lower house of parliament has approved a bill outlawing propaganda that discourages people from having children. The new legislation criminalizes spreading information that advocates voluntary childlessness and makes it punishable by fines of up to 47,000 euros.
Ведь мы с вами, в принципе, сформировали правовое поле, в рамках которого защитили детей, семьи, наши ценности. И сегодня мы вносим дополнение в принятые ранее законы, где запретили пропаганду педофилии, ЛГБТ, смену пола.
Supporters of the bill contend that public arguments against having children are part of purported Western efforts to weaken Russia by encouraging population decline. President Vladimir Putin and his top officials in recent years have increasingly called for observing so-called traditional values. As Russia's population declines, Putin has made statements advocating large families and last year urged women to have as many as 8 children. Since he sent troops into Ukraine in February 2022, the Kremlin leader has repeatedly characterized the West as satanic and accused it of trying to undermine Russia by exporting liberal ideologies. While some outside the Kremlin welcomed the passage of the bill, some women's rights activists were angry, saying lawmakers were looking for the cause of Russia's falling birth rate in the wrong place.
Мы очень много лет работаем с женщинами из разных социальных слоев, и отказ осознанный от рождения ребенка в первую очередь вызван материальными и экономическими факторами.
The bill requires 2 more readings in the State Duma and the vetting of the upper house of parliament before being sent to Vladimir Putin for final approval.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky warned that North Korea supporting Russia would be a first step towards a world war. Zelensky claims the country's intelligence services found evidence suggesting 10,000 North Korean troops were training to join Russian forces. It comes after Zelensky presented his victory plan to EU leaders at a high-level summit in Brussels.
We know about 10,000 soldiers of North Korea that they are preparing to fight against us. And this is the first step to a world war.
Zelensky said he received majority support from EU countries for his victory plan, which includes permission to fire long-range weapons into Russia. He emphasized the importance of receiving support from Western allies, but criticized that it often arrives too slowly. Zelensky is convinced the victory plan could bring an end to the war no later than next year. He also said he'd like to present the plan to Russia at a future peace summit.
Italian lawmakers passed a bill criminalising nationals that travel abroad to have children through surrogacy. The measure was passed after a 7-hour marathon debate in Rome on Wednesday. Activists say the legislation, spearheaded by Conservative Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's Brother of Italy party, targets same-sex couples and is discriminatory. Those found guilty of breaking the law face 2 years jail and fines of up to €1 million.
Vice President Kamala Harris said she would not be a continuation from Biden's presidency in an interview with Brett Baier on Fox News. Even though Democrats currently hold the White House, Harris said she wants to turn the page by representing a new generation of leadership, one that isn't burdened by a divisive rhetoric coming from Donald Trump.
Well, first of all, turning the page from the last decade in which we've been burdened with the kind of rhetoric coming from Donald Trump that has been designed and implemented to divide our country and have Americans literally point fingers at each other.
Her nearly 30-minute sit-down with Baier repeatedly grew heated, with the two talking over each other.
Citizenship for the finish? Yes, ma'am. May I finish responding, please? But you have to let me finish.
You
please.
had the White House and the House and the Senate,
I'm
and they didn't bring up that bill.
I'm in the middle of responding to the point you're raising,
okay,
and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
It was Harris's first foray onto the network, which is popular with conservative viewers.
Welcome to Media City Qatar.
Ayo.
A hub for media companies,
I saw the stupid Qatar ad
and
again.
innovators. We support companies
So
with
I
an
had
innovative
to
ecosystem and modern
be
media
a bother.
regulation.
Heya, how are you doing? How's your day? How's your Fridays? We gotta work today and I have to work tomorrow. But then that's the weekend. That's the weekend. I'm so happy for it. I'm so happy. I can't wait to sleep the entirety of Saturday. Genuinely. It can end in court if you're an Italian doing abroad. Yeah, you see though, the thing is, I'm kinda okay with that. Because we had a situation here in Croatia, that's what it makes me think about. We had a situation here in Croatia with like 10 couples from Croatia going to Africa to get a kid there. I'm not sure which specific country they went to, but it's illegal to adopt children from it. And they still adopted children from it because they paid enough money, which is technically, by all means, participating in human trafficking. And they came back to Croatia and the courts are still like debating on whether or not they should have been punished, or like what do you do in that situation? Because like they already brought the kids here. Technically they have the adoption papers, but like there's no one from the country where they took the kids from to confirm that these papers are like nationally recognized, because the papers is just the institution being like, yeah, you can have the kid, you know what I mean? So I think that in the same way as surrogacy, when it comes to like going to specifically third world countries, I think it's an easy way to go to a poorer country and to exploit people locally, because you know that like, oh yeah, they have a hard time with finances, my paycheck is like enough to pay for a lot of shit here, so I can just say one paycheck, go there and be like, hey, you woman from a third world country that's really poor, you know what, just like carry a child for me and I'll give you, I don't know, 500 euros, because for me that's something I could pay, but for her that's a chance of a lifetime, right? So she's gonna do that. It's exploitation, it's human trafficking, nothing else. So I'm strongly against. I'm against like surrogacy overall. I think surrogacy should not be a thing that exists at all. Oh, I don't think that couples who want a kid should be granted someone else's body to be used as an incubator to have a kid. I don't think having a kid with your biological signature is your right. You can adopt a child if you want a child. There's several always adoption institutions in your own country where everything is handled legally and you can adopt a kid. I do not think it's anyone's human right to have a child that carries their own genetics. So if you can't, like if you're married to a woman who can't have kids, or like if you're in a gay relationship or whatever, I don't think you're granted a child with your genetic signature. You know, you can't have it, that's all right. Adopt a kid. Sign up for adoption. They're going to check if you are a viable person to adopt kids, and then you can adopt kids. I don't see that there is many harm in just being like, oh, I want a person that's genetically similar to me so I can go around and exploit people. I don't really think it's like... I don't know, when I weight the problems in the situation, I don't really think it's a right that should be something that I care about. In exchange for 20 goats, we provide those 2 kids to this lovely family. Yeah, basically, you know, because like it's illegal. It's illegal for children to leave the country in question, and these children left the country in question. Now, what happened here is that when our people, some of them politicians, some of them very close to like top politics, when they returned to the country, they went to court and they basically argued that they didn't know it was illegal to adopt children from this country. What they did is they like played to be stupid. They were like, we didn't know it was illegal, and then they gave us the paperwork, so we thought everything was okay. How do you not check on that? You don't check on that because you know what you're doing, and what you're doing is going to a third world country to exploit their financial situation so you could get a kid. Like, there's a reason you're not adopting at home. There's a reason, especially for politicians, there's a reason you're not advocating for the adoption procedures in Croatia to be more efficient so you could adopt in Croatia. There's a reason you're not doing that at home. Oh, I don't... the thing is that, like, when it comes to surrogates within their own countries and being consensual, I still disagree with it. I disagree with the entire practice. I disagree with the entire practice. I think it being consensual doesn't make it any more moral. I'm just genuinely, like, overall, yeah, we can go through this, but I'm genuinely against the entire practice. I don't think you should be granted someone's body to be used as an incubator so that a person is created with your genetic makeup and so that this child is then given to you. I don't think this is your human right. I don't... Adopt a kid. If you want to take for a kid, adopt a kid. There's plenty of kids in a horrible situation in your country that you can help. I think that's the route you should go if you want to be taking care of a child. I think that wanting a child with a specific genetic signature should not be something that is not your priority as a person, like morally. Not like my priority when I think about which laws are okay to be pushed and which politicians I'm going to be voting for. You know what I mean?
Sinwar, who Israel accused of being the
Hey,
architect
Demi,
of the
thank
Oslo
you.
of the
Thank you.
70s
It was a lot of
prize
effort.
attack, which killed
Took scissors
1,200
and...
Israelis, was announced as Hamas's new head
In
following
some
the
cultures,
assassination
selling
of
kids is not
Israeli
immoral. I agree with that. I think we live in a culture where it is immoral, and I think that our politicians should be forming laws based on our cultures. I think that when we decide on what is allowed and what isn't allowed in the scope of our society, you know, should be based on the culture here at home. Just personal freedom and business. I think going through a pregnancy should never be seen as business. That's like my problem. I think it should never be seen as business. I think that's a big problem, and I think that creates even more room for exploitation. You know what it reminds me of? Do you guys know when TikTok was having this drama about whether or not women are allowed to advertise OnlyFans on TikTok? Because, like, there's a lot of young people there, and they get into this bullshit of like, ooh, you know, I can just like show my body online and I can get so much money. I think it's similar to that. Like, presenting it as business creates a situation where you're telling to these young women, hey, you want to do this, you want to sell your body. This is a financial opportunity for you. You're opening them up to be exploited on financial reasons. And personally, I'm like very against that. I think it's strongly anti-woman. I think it's opening up a lot of very young women for possible abuse, and I think it shouldn't be happening at all. I think it should be banned. are all the available kids within the country all adopted out? Yeah, why go to another country to get a kid? Like, you know why you're going to another country to get a kid. You know why they're doing that. It's, come on.
Supporters of the bill
Adoption process is a little bit fucked up. Oh yeah, in Croatia, yeah. I do know two different couples in my local area who have been waiting for adoption papers for years. One of them is almost like getting too old to even take care of a kid. Both of them stable marriages, both of them really good financial situation, and they're still unable to get the paperwork sorted for a kid. I think I know like 3 couples though locally who do have kids that they have adopted, and the situation there is going great. So it's really, the system is fucked up, and I do fully understand that the system must be fixed. I completely agree with that. I am against surrogate motherhood, but I am fully for making the adoption process way more efficient than it is today. Because today it's like ridiculous. Today it's incredibly stupid. Extraterritoriality of this law is really what's at risk of it being challenged in court. I was actually, you know what like confuses me? I don't know why it being, I don't know why it would be harder to defend it in court when we talk about the extraterritoriality of the law. I don't know why that's harder to defend in court than like banning it locally. Because on a local level, well, in Italy itself, where surrogacy is already banned, on a local level, Italy can ensure that all of this is consensual, right? It can demand all parties to sign documents that this is a consensual thing, that they want to do this. It can set a certain procedure to be done before and after, certain rights for the mother of the child, right? When it comes to people going to third world countries to buy a baby, you can't really do that. In my head, like it being outside of Italy makes it so much worse because there's so little ways that we could really be regulating it as compared to inside Italy. Yeah, make Ukraine nuclear again. Hell yeah, fully supportive, fully fucking supportive. Zelensky said what we should have been saying 2 years ago, what people have been saying 2 years ago. They just used it 150,000 piece of shit. What people have been saying 2 years ago, if you remember, that if USA breaks the promises of the Budapest Memorandum, it's going to give a signal not just to Ukraine, but to all small countries relying on USA and NATO for their security at the moment, that you must have nukes if you want to be secure. Because USA is not going to do shit. Germany is not going to do shit. France is not going to do shit. They're going to watch you be killed and then they won't do a thing. So the only option you really have is getting nukes. Taiwan, I'm absolutely certain, is thinking about the same thing right now because China is doing military exercises around. Taiwan relies on USA at the moment, but what did USA do about Ukraine? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, like, why would you trust them that they're going to go against China if they're not willing to go against fucking Russia? So, yeah, I'm pissed off.
All of the injured passengers, including one in a life-threatening
You can regulate it. It will still be business, but I think when it comes to business, it's also a way to emancipate yourself. There are women who just want to do it for this and see it like this. I think that for me, though, it's also like, I think basically everything can be a business if you present it as business. What I'm saying is, how deep would you go in making something a business before having to draw a line between what's moral and what is not moral? Because it being a business is not enough for me to say, oh yeah, now I agree with going through pregnancy and then selling your child to another person. For me, that's like not where I would say this is okay to do as a business. You know what I mean? Because you could make the same argument for like millions of other things. You could be like, oh yeah, well, people, sending their kids to go to work to plantations, that was business, wasn't it? It's how family gets money. That was business. How is that not business? Russians volunteering to go fight for their military forces? I mean, it's business. They have no money. Buryatia is very poor. Many of these people don't even have gas in their houses to be heating them, you know? They need some way to get cash money, so they're volunteering to go to fight. It's also business. A lot of things are business. So I think we might just draw the line in different positions where like business is morally acceptable and where business is not morally acceptable. But for me, surrogacy falls within the area of not morally acceptable at all. Maybe OnlyFans need to happen so your point of view comes across. Oh shit, wait. Sometimes people can only see the negatives when they experience it. I'm not saying exploitation is okay. Also, you think like women, maybe some women need to try it to figure out how bad it is, which I do see that. I do see that, but also I think as a society we should be protecting our most vulnerable. I think as a society we should have the push to protect people in the most vulnerable solutions, right? And when we know that the people most vulnerable are, you know, let's say women in a horrible financial situation and they are prepared to sell their bodies to make some money, I think we as a society should go, hey, maybe there's ways that we could actually be solving this that are not as dehumanizing as making them sell their bodies to get some cash. I think we should maybe, you know, figure out something smarter. I thought women were empowered by having people give them money for content and exotic dancing. Yeah, like it's always a half thing, isn't it? When it comes to stuff like OnlyFans and when it comes to porn overall, when it comes to prostitution conversation overall, it's always like, how do you figure out who's actually doing it consensually and who is not doing it consensually? How do you figure out, like, if they had a lot of money, would they still be willing to do this if they were not in a situation that they are in? If they were not women from third world countries? Or if the country that they are in actually had cash? Like, would you go to Switzerland and get a woman to be your surrogate there? Would you be able to do that? You know what I mean? Why do all of these people who want to buy babies, why do they go to African countries? Why do they go to poorer countries? It's very similar to me as to, you know, when Andrew Tate was encouraging men to be passport bros and to go to other countries to get women to be with them. It's very much the same thing. Like, there's a reason why they go to poorer countries. There's a reason why they don't go to, again, Switzerland being the prime example. Why don't they go to Sweden to find a woman there that's willing to sell herself? Because these women have enough money, and once you're in a position where you have enough money and where your existence is secured, you are not as likely to be wanting to sell yourself to slimy old men. And in the same way, you're not as likely to be wanting to sell your body to be used as an incubator so someone else from fuck knows where can have a child with half their own genetic makeup. It's inherently exploitation.
In under 1 minute.
Sup slippers, how's life going? Extraterritoriality is seen as an issue to apply only to very serious matters like espionage. If we apply it to lesser offense, we might resemble China a bit. Not much the thing being regulated, but the way you're regulating it. But like, wouldn't it be true that... Wait. How does it go for other offenses? What if I commit a crime in like another country, something that is seen as a crime in my own country? No, actually I have to look it up. They just have to extradite me and that's that? Da već imaju nuklearke, samo ih trebaju sastaviti. Ej, iz tvojih usta u Božje uši. Just as the Native Americans? Okay, yeah, that's too fair. That's fair.
Euro News. The news.
You lost 4 kilos last week. 4 kilos in a week, Slippers? By going to the gym? Holy shit. Holy shit, that's wild. China, for example, applies extraterritoriality to dissent. If you criticize the government outside China and get back inside and they know who you are, you might get prosecuted.
Russia's lower house of parliament approves a bill outlawing propaganda that discourages
that might be
people
interesting.
from having children.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that North Korea's support for Russia
Zelensky.
would be a first step towards a world war.
Yeah, might be interesting to see how they do with that legally. If when adoption is reasonably easy to do, is surrogacy still preferred? It is preferred by some people who want a child to be like their own. So they want a kid that's their own genetically. They don't want to adopt someone else's kid. They want their own child. Often it's that, or it's just like you want to buy a baby. You want to buy a baby, because very often when it comes to adoption, you don't really get, you don't always get the chance to pick, basically. So they often just want to buy a baby to be sure that they're going to buy a baby.
Leaders also discussed potential responses to hybrid attacks.
Which I don't know, for me, just like from a moral reason.
Which have sent innocent migrants to the borders of
I don't feel
Finland
we should be able to do that.
Poland,
no, I don't feel we should be able to do that at all.
The countries. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk suspended the right to asylum.
Yeah. Legally, it's gonna be interesting to see how they solve it. But from a moral position, truly, like I'm GG with the law, and I'm also GG with not allowing your people to go into third world countries to try to buy babies. I'm fully okay with that. I want them to be punished. I want to know how they're going to figure out legally how to punish them. I'm not sure what's going to happen there, but I'm okay with punishing them. I don't think as a modern society we should be enabling acts of essentially human trafficking. Hey, I saved Vlad Vexler's video though on Zelensky peace plan. Oh, where the hell is he? Here he is. I don't know what he's talking about. I do know someone mentioned Twitter up there and I missed it. Twitter has been commenting on Zelensky's words being basically nukes or NATO. Which, again, this has been very well observed since 2022, when the full-scale invasion started, and people were like, hey, if we betray Ukraine, what option are we leaving them? They gotta get nukes. Because, like, what other option do they have? We're proving to be worthless. They obviously can't defend themselves. Come on, be real with me. So I think Zelensky... I fully support him saying this. I think it should have been said 2 years ago, but it's GG that he's saying it now. And I am hoping that our leaders are taking him seriously. Also, I do hope that they also kind of think that Ukraine might have the ability to get nukes. I hope there's an impetus to act quickly, because I'm really concerned about them just not doing a single thing in the next who the fuck knows how long.
To be with you, especially at a difficult health time.
Why is this man always so quiet for me?
To find a moment to sit up and speak. I'm going to give a health update on the Vladimir Diary channel, not here. And here we're going to have a conversation which is lovely because it's lovely to be speaking with you, but it's unlovely because of the topic, and that is Western support for Ukraine and of course Zelensky.
Myslíš, že sú ich imali, kako sú ich se riešili? Myslíš, že im je ostalo nešto? Ili da su nabavili posljedno?
Apart from the bits that are
jer vidim ljude da zovu za skupljanje.
5 parts. The first of which is an immediate and unconditional invitation to join NATO.
Repenting giving away the nukes they had for fake Russian guarantees in the 1990s. Yeah, not just Russian.
How does
not just Russian. I think that's the biggest problem. It's not just fake Russian guarantees. It's fake American guarantees. It's fake German guarantees.
Especially if he already
like
thinks
it's fake everyone's
Ukraine
guarantees. Holy shit! Wasn't France also in on the deal?
Devoid of agency,
France and who else? Was it China?
A kind of ugly arm of US, NATO.
Shit, that were like main signatories.
The second element is more
main
military
signatories
support,
and then
relaxation
more.
of rules of engagement
Yeah.
around the use
Oh,
of
Russia,
Western
USA,
weapons,
United Kingdom, and then it was China and France. It
joint
wasn't Germany.
operations with Western
France,
partners
USA,
to shoot
United Kingdom.
down
Which, by the
Russian
way,
stuff
United Kingdom has
flying
been
over
rather
Ukraine,
based recently,
to
and I was
which
thinking about why is
major Western
United Kingdom
powers
doing so
tend
well.
to say
It's
no.
because Zaluzhny is there.
The third element
because
is a
fucking Zaluzhny is
non-nuclear
there as an
strategic
ambassador.
deterrent
He's going
package
balls deep.
deployed on Ukrainian
That's why they're being so
soil.
loud, because they're being louder
what
than
this
usual,
means
and I
in
was rather
practice
confused for a
is an
while.
important question whether there's any way of picturing that could realistically be thought to
Yeah, it is
swing
Budapest
the
Memorandum.
balance
Yeah,
of
that's
the
true,
war.
that's true.
Fourth,
A to ništa Rusi ne mogu svojeg napraviti.
the United States with
Nego
partners
moraju Kineza i
including the
Irana
European
uvoziti,
Union
kopirati,
of
Ukrajinci
which
rade svoje bez
Ukraine will
problema.
be a part, says
I
Zelensky,
hope you're correct.
will
I
agree
hope you're
to
correct. I'm gonna
maintain
see
the
Ukraine having some nukey
sanctions
nukes.
on the Russians, but also
I don't even know if
invest
it's gonna be
and
like
protect Ukraine's critical resources. And again, Mark Galeotti asked
Hypothetically.
today, what does that mean in practice? Does that mean providing money for Ukraine?
hypothetically in a
to
situation that
fortify
I do
factories
get
and
them. I have
mines?
no idea what would have
Or
happened.
does it mean foreign air defense systems sitting on Ukrainian soil?
Because you'd have basically the Cold War
Fine.
situation, just like on a more local level, right?
Ukraine will have one of the most experienced and sizable military
Yeah,
forces.
I've got no idea.
And
But that's
could
why
be
we are
used to
reaching the like
replace
actual genuine
EU
danger
as military
area.
deployment
That's where
in Europe,
we're being like, oh shit.
which is not necessarily an idea that's going to impress major Western powers. Now, what is going on here? And is this Zelensky asking for things, as ever, asking for more than he is going to get just to get more than he has? Or is there something else going on here politically on top of that, on top of this being a kind of ask? Well, I think there is. And I'll tell you what that is in a moment. But as far as the ask goes, the purpose of the ask is not just greater support from the West, but greater involvement of the West in the war. Sort of a maximal globalization of the war. So let's get the West to escalate more in response to Putin, to stand up to Putin properly by becoming more involved in the conflict in a way that may lead it to get even more involved than that. So that's the direction of Zelensky's travel. And of course, the direction of Putin's travel is leave us alone, let us just do this terrible, ghastly war. It's just a local ex-Soviet problem. So Putin is saying local, Ukraine is saying global.
Oh, okay. Hey, you're frozen. Globalny svjetski ideološki rat,
of course, floating above all of this is this cloud of a lack of strategy. Now, one question is, imagine on a reasonable interpretation, Ukraine got all
in that
what
situation. You can't
Zelensky is
even
asking
imagine.
for.
I'm very
It's
fucking
not
concerned
clear
about
to
Croatia
me
in that situation.
that would lead to Ukraine winning the war.
Because I
It's
am a
not
bit
clear
concerned
to
about
me
NATO itself.
that what Zelensky is asking for will lead
I've been concerned about NATO.
to
Wait, sorry. Feels kinda disrespectful to speak over him. I'll let you have this. Because the concern over NATO has existed for a while, you know? Because NATO previously, even before Russia invaded Ukraine, it was like, is NATO going to defend the Baltic states? Is NATO going to defend the Baltic states, or is NATO just like going to allow Russia to take them over? And you know, NATO for a while had this theory that if Russia attacks the Baltics, NATO is going to allow it. Like, it's not going to fight outright. It's going to allow it for a while, and then it's going to chase Russia out. Which is bullshit. It would have never happened. But it was the idea. Like, we won't be able to like get to troops so quickly. So we're going to chase Russia out later. Bullshit. But I think that this concern about the stability of NATO, it was present here years ago. And then it became even stronger as we saw Russian drones entering the territory of Poland and of Romania. And both of these countries countries being like, we saw nothing, and Poland even lying about it for a while until they found it crashed in their territory. They were lying that they don't know about it. They were willing to lie to protect Russia, to prevent some sort of escalation, right? And now what you have is German politicians openly being like, yeah, we don't even know, like, if NATO would react if certain of our countries are attacked. We don't know if it would be willing to go to fight for them. And then you have Trump himself being like, yeah, America would not go to fight. Russia can do whatever it wants. So the stability of NATO is already kind of shaky. It's already kind of shaky. You have Hungary itself. The main advisor to Orban, also being named Orban, has recently said that if Russia gets to Hungary, Hungary is not going to make the same mistake Ukraine did, which is defending itself. He openly said that Hungary is not going to defend itself, literally. Hungary would not do that. We see Ukraine is defending itself, we see this is prolonging the war. We wouldn't do that thing. We wouldn't. Why would we? You have Orban right now going crying over to Putin because he is scared of Zelensky's peace plan. He is scared of what this means. Know what I mean? Like, it's a very concerning situation for the stability of NATO itself. And then when we have Orban, who said he is willing to sell his entire country over to Russia, we have Orban parading around in Greater Germany flags. We have Vucic going around talking about Greater Serbia, having Arkan's kid with him around to threaten Kosovo. We have Dodik, who wants to go and split Bosnia. We have a greater Serb sentiment about Krajina needing to be returned to them, because they see Krajina as... What they do is they compare Krajina to Krim, in a way that they believe Krim should be Russian, and if Russia wins, that means Russia deserved Krim all of this time. And if Krim should be Russian, then Krajina should be Serbian. So if Serbia goes to protect poor Serbs onto the territory of Krajina, it has the right to do so the same way Russia had the right to take Krim. So it's a very, like, we are on the clash of Serbs and of Dodik, whoever side Dodik is on, I don't even know, cocksucker. And we got Hungarians very close to our territory. And then we have the unfortunate position of being on outskirts of NATO. We are among the countries that are less important to Western Europe. Like, Poland itself is less important to Western Europe. They're having meetings with Americans planned, where it's going to be like supposedly meetings of big NATO players. It's going to be America, it's going to be France, and it's going to be Germany. It's not going to be Poland. Poland has nothing to do with it. No one wants to fucking speak to Poland because they know Poland is going to demand greater protection of Eastern Europe, and these fucktards are not ready to do this. So yeah, I'm very concerned for Croatia in that whole situation. I'm very fucking concerned for Croatia because if something does happen, I am not entirely certain that we are going to be protected. I can't, like, I can't bet my life on the fact we're going to be protected. And I do live in, like, Eastern Croatia. We did get invaded. We did get invaded previously. My people did get killed. My specific close family members did get killed by Serb forces. I'm very concerned that we're going to be in danger of something similar happening again because NATO currently is castrated. And yeah, Anna, thank you for the like. Thank you. Russian Federation welcomes the Hungarian Oblast. Basically, Hungarians did respond to it rather strongly. So we can hope that there's a sentiment somewhat in the Hungarian population that, you know, they would fight this off. But the fact that your top politicians can just be like, hey guys, yeah, if Russia comes, we're just surrendering. Like, we're not gonna fight against them. We're surrendering. It's such a concerning thing to me. We're so close to them. And it has been a thing that if you look at Croatian analysis, in 2022 already, people were saying that they are concerned about this war happening because we are one country difference from Ukraine. It's like, it's us, it's Hungary, it's Ukraine. Hungary as a vassal of Russia? That's deeply concerning. That is deeply fucking concerning. So, yeah, I'm very scared.
Euronews.
Puno retarda koji bi glasali za Milanovića jer me za HDZ. Yeah, definitely. I think you can understand from the context what we are talking about. Bingo. I don't think you're mentally challenged not to be able to. Hey, Afa, how are you doing? Baltics will be erased from the planet. I'm hoping Finland, and I'm hoping Sweden might be strong players in that situation, because you know, it's like if you get erased from the planet, they're in not a really favorable position either. So I'm really hoping that something might happen there. I can also collect a pee-pee. We don't surrender until World War II. Oh no, I'm not thinking Croatia would. I'm not thinking Europe itself would lose. To be fair, I'm not thinking Europe would get eradicated. I am thinking that in the case of an attack like that, there's going to be a response, because that's going to be like, how to say this? You know how right now Europe is like in a coma and they're not willing to admit that the world war is going on? I think an attack in what is basically Central Europe would make them forcefully aware of that. I don't think Croatia would lose. I still think that Croatia could suffer plenty casualties. We didn't lose in the homeland war either, but we suffered plenty casualties. We're still seeking out so many people who are missing. We're still finding mass graves. Like plenty locations. One was found just a few months ago. It's been almost 30 years after the war. We found a mass grave just recently. So I'm really concerned about that. I'm not thinking Croatia is going to be deleted, but I'm thinking Croatia is going to suffer plenty deaths that we would not suffer if our allies were actually allies and not just cops in power, you know what I mean? NATO army is much stronger than the other side. It absolutely is. NATO army is absolutely stronger. The problem with NATO is that what NATO is trying to do and what NATO democracies are trying to do is solving things diplomatically, solving things without escalation. It's also what the UN is trying to do. The idea is we're going to solve everything with having conversations, whereas, which I think is a good comparison to the situation that's happening in, say, the case of Israel. Because what Israel is doing is Israel is going around and is just killing fucking leaders of all terrorist groups, just taking them out all one by one. What's negotiations with terrorists? You don't negotiate with terrorists, you kill them, right? Well, NATO is not doing a thing like that. NATO is not going around killing its enemies. NATO is trying to be like, no, we should solve this diplomatically. We should figure out if there's a way to like calm down the situation, to de-escalate the situation. We should figure out if there's a way to slow this down. And in this attempt to slow this down, I think we're effectively opening up a lot of our people to more harm, just making us seem weaker. While they're letting Houthis do whatever they want in the Red Sea. And Israel, which is miles ahead of Hezbollah, let the crewed drones strike a base, injuring 60 soldiers. I mean, you can never protect yourself against all the drones entering your territory. I think that's perfectly reasonable. Like, of course, you can never have a 100% protection rate at all times. And Israel is being a victim of attacks rather often, so It's not really something that would surprise me. When it comes to Houthis, though, I don't think NATO is too weak to defeat Houthis. No, not at all. I don't think it's about the weakness of our military. I think it's specifically about the lack of will to defeat them, about the lack of will to actually do strong actions to be defeating them, right? Because like what Israel is doing right now, they killed the Hamas leader, just outright fucking killed him. I don't think NATO would do something like that. I don't think NATO would do that. I think NATO would be like, no, guys, we gotta slow it down. Guys, we gotta slow it down. Guys, let's try to not escalate the situation because we don't want to see a bigger war forming. And then what you have is like the situation being not really de-escalated, but more like out of your sight for a while until it gets worse again. And if you don't have plans to fix it, then, you know, it's getting fucked again. Veći problem izdajice nego Srbi i Mađari. Ja, definitivno i to, apsolutno. NATO vojnici civili ne žele umret, jer imaju pravo riječi, a u diktatorskim zemljama nemaju izbora. Yeah, there's a reason why the coalition of dictatorial countries is so much more willing to directly go into war than the coalition of democracies. Vibes in Estonia are bad? People thinking whether to move or not? I can understand that. What happened in Estonia? Estonia is not sure that it's going to be protected. That's basically what's going on in Estonia. It didn't get attacked yet, but it's on the forefront. And they do have a lot of Russians in their midst. So the situation is a bit dangerous. Because if Russian victory happens in Ukraine, it's going to embolden the Russians to go and get more countries. And then we're dealing with a big problem. Ja, fakat push pause. Sretno. But yeah, basically, I stand behind saying that NATO military is stronger, and I absolutely do think that NATO military is stronger. But again, NATO's problem is not going to be the weakness of our military, it's going to be the political will. In the same way, that's the problem right now in Ukraine. We could defeat Russia. We could defeat Russia without a problem. Ukraine has been holding the front line in place with... It's insulting to even call it fucking scraps. Because we haven't given them scraps. We've given them basically nothing. If we gave them what we can afford to give them, this war would have been long over. But we're not doing it because there's a lack of political will to go against Russia. There's fears of what's going to happen if Russia gets defeated, what happens if Russia crumbles from within, and then right now you have Kadyrov threatening Dugin, and then trying to start like a bigger war inside Russia itself. So in a lot of places in Europe, there's fears of like refugees coming in or the entire situation being destabilized. And there's a lack of political will to see Russia defeated, which is our main problem. It's the lack of will. It's not the lack of highly trained professional soldiers. They could wipe out Russians without a problem. Russia is free to retaliate if you ship such and such to Ukraine. I think their abilities to retaliate are rather limited. In a way that I think that they're already doing pretty much the worst that they can. Like, unless you're implying that they would attack NATO countries, they're pretty much, like, they're already committing a genocide. How much worse could we see them be? They're already committing a genocide. They're already supporting terrorist groups worldwide. They are already attempting terrorist attacks in European countries. Like what? What could they do? Send a rocket into our country? Sure, that could be like one escalation. But like, that's that. That's that, really. So I don't think we should be holding back at all, really. I think we should destroy them. I think we should fully destroy them. I think Russians have shown that their red lines don't exist, and I think we should destroy them. Estonia is protected by NATO. The problem is that NATO protection seems to be a bit Shaky. NATO itself seems to be a bit shaky. Russia is free to suck a major fat dong. That's true. That's true. That's true. Russia could send 100k North Koreans to go storm Eastern Baltics. Yeah, that's also that's another concern of mine. Like, what if that does happen? What if that does happen? Like, what are we seeing? And especially, you know what's my concern? What if it happens from the territory of Belarus only? Like, what if they have a means to say that, oh, this is actually like, I mean, Belarus trained them. Belarus trained them. Belarus sent them over. It wasn't Russia. Russia has nothing to do with it, which was a concern already when they sent all of those nuclear-capable, was it missiles being sent to Belarus or whatever? It's giving them a chance to, like, use shit from Belarus and to be like, oh yeah, we didn't. We didn't. Belarus did. You wanna fight someone? Fight Belarus. But Belarus is not officially at war, is it? So I'm not even sure that you can fight them in a way you would fight us. So, let's see how you respond, NATO. And NATO is going to be like, big concern. Big concern. I am deeply concerned. Deeply worried. Yes. Let's not escalate. They can strike the US base in Middle East. They can. By all means, they can. It would be an interesting thing to see, because I hope it would finally get USA to do something. They want US troops to be directly deployed in the borders if they push it. I think that the danger of USA troops directly deployed is only going to be real if they attack the territory of USA itself. I don't think USA is becoming a party of this. I don't think... Like, USA currently is pushing strongly for isolationism when it comes to that. I don't think USA has the balls. Which is kind of a sad thing, isn't it? Because, like, that strong of a military and you're not able to protect your allies, that's fucking sad. Your allies have to think about the possibility of getting nukes because you're such worthless of a compatriot. That is so sad. Mr. Jesuradis, but we can hope. US government cares more about Israel than Ukraine. I can see that. Yeah. I think it's stupid still though. But I can see it in a way. But yeah, the elections are definitely going to be an interesting interesting turnaround. I don't even know if I'm positive about that. Like, I still don't know. And people yesterday were rather positive, but I don't know. Yeah, that too. And also, I don't know how many of you researched this, but I love reminding people of this. Look into the Internet Research Agency, like a Wagner-linked Internet Research Agency, Prigozhin-linked, because it's incredible how easily they've been able to manipulate Americans. It's incredible. They had whole operations that were just intended to turn Americans one against the other, and it fucking worked. It was so easy. It was so easy. And now you have Republicans going around being like, oh yeah, I would rather be a Russian than to be a Democrat. I don't know. There's going to be books written about this. There's going to be books written about how Russia managed to shit in the mouth of every single American without them even noticing it. There's going to be fucking books written about it. Goddamn research. USA will never back down in Middle East. I mean, in that situation, I hope Russia goes and blows up some of them even more, because I wonder what would have happened. Oh no, we gotta de-escalate, but our people are getting killed. How do we de-escalate then? What the fuck are we going to do? How do we still stay pussies while keeping our people safe? I genuinely wonder what would have happened, because right now their policy on this has been absolutely mentally retarded. Peace plan. The peace plan is good, yeah. The peace plan is alright. I hope he manages to push us into action with it. I hope the speech about like NATO and nukes, I hope it was. hope it was strong enough to make them listen. Peace through strength, this and that. Yeah, the idea of peace through strength did work, while strength was used as a deterrent. But like, once the deterrent is gone, once you prove that you're bluffing, it's kind of gone. It's like with Russia and their nukes being used as a deterrent, right? Because they worked for a while. And then what happened is we figured that Russia is not going to use nukes, and now you have territory of Russia itself being occupied by Ukraine, because Ukraine knew the nukes will not be used. A deterrent is only used if both sides agree to pretend the deterrent is actually real. And the second, like, one side fails in doing that, it all kind of crumbles. And yeah, that's what's happening with Russia, and that's also what happened with NATO. Because NATO does have a really strong military, but as long as it's sitting in the bases around, what's the point of it? There's really no point. The deterrent isn't working. Zelensky's peace plan? We can go through a video on Zelensky's peace plan, absolutely. I think we did do that previously, because it's not really a new thing. But yeah, we could go through that one if you're interested in that. Let's push this, see how NATO reacts, let's push some more. That's basically all they do all this time, testing and stretching boundaries. And as long as they're not physically stopped, they will continue to do so. Yeah. And like the most concerning thing in that situation, is that we've seen wars already start by doing this, and we're just staying blind to it, and that annoys me so much. Like, we've seen how this plays out, we know exactly how this is going to play out. We've seen this not only with Hitler, we've seen this with Serbia in 1990s. We've seen the same shit of like pushing a little bit more and then pushing a little bit more, and then everyone internationally ignores you, and then you push a little bit more, and then you go and you attempt a whole fucking genocide. They tried this recently when they tried to go into Kosovo to butcher people there and to start a war. They tried the same thing. It was like, hey, we're going to send our soldiers there and we're going to start fighting within. So like, it's not technically us invading. It's not technically us attacking, is it? Technically, the fighting started inside. We're not really a member of this. No, we're not at fault. And no one punished them. And now they're threatening to do it again. Because no one punished them. Because no one saw it coming. Because people, when they imagine the way a war starts, they imagine like military just rolling over your fucking borders. They don't imagine everything that happens before that. It's the same thing with Americans. I know we talked about this previously, about that Russian calendar, a new calendar they published for 2024, I think it was. And in the calendar there was like illustration of a Russian soldier in front of the burning White House. And Americans were like, ha ha ha, a Russian soldier in front of the burning White House? That would never happen. How are they going to invade? How would they make their tanks cross over the ocean? Oh, it would never be a thing that happens. They're not going to invade militarily. They're already invading. They're already doing that. They're already balls deep. They're already buying politicians willing to not just betray NATO, but also to betray the USA itself. They're already in. Like, at the point where they send the tanks, you're going to be welcoming their tanks, because you're going to see them as fighters against the Democrats or whatever the fuck you think Russians are fighting against. They can't even stop primitive actors like Houthis and Hezbollah. There's a difference between not being able to stop it and not being willing to stop it. They don't want to stop the terrorist groups because they don't want to get into confrontation with Iran. They don't want to escalate the situation. Again, the same thing that they're doing right now with Russia. They can stop Russia. They don't want to stop Russia. It's not about the military might. The problem was never military might. The problem was political will. They can pummel Russia, Iran, but Israel and Europe will get pummeled in return? I very much doubt that. I very much doubt that. What tužno? I can like sort of see it in Croatian as saddening. Relatively sad. I can see that. I can see that. That's what I'm able to like understand. Stopping Hezbollah would be another genocide. Yeah, like fighting Hamas is a genocide, and then our people are like, no, you're fighting Hamas. Oh my god. Oh my god, let me do protests all around our universities. How dare you be stopping Hamas? How dare you be destroying a terrorist organization? That's the lack of political will. That's the lack of political will. People are going to be bitching about it. And then your politicians get pressured to also be bitching about it. What part is that? Tužno. That's the way I see that. Don't see a lack of political will in blocking a drone. No, you see a political will in destroying where the drone is coming from. That's what you see a lack of political will in. Because no side can destroy all the drones incoming when they come for such a long time in such large numbers, right? Of course, some of them are going to pull through. In order to actually be fully, properly defended against the drones coming to your territory, you gotta destroy the side that is sending the drones in the first place. And that's why we are having a lack of political will. Yeah, they can produce 10k drones a month. That's what I'm telling you. They can produce 10k drones a month. They can be sending a lot of them. Even with the best air defenses, you will not be able to protect yourself against all drones all of the time. Hey, yo, daddy, how's life going? No progress in Lebanon, such as the problem of sending conscripts after people with actual military equipment. Hey, I haven't really looked into what's the situation with that, to be honest. Hey, yo, Kim! I haven't looked into the situation with that, so can't comment. You can destroy Hezbollah, but you will get plenty of drones in your face. I mean, talking about a hypothetical situation, no, I don't think NATO would suffer too many losses in not destroying Hezbollah, destroying Iran itself, along with all the terrorist groups being directly supported by it, if there was not a political will. No, I don't think they would be a match. I think there's no NATO political will. And make a progress within your mom. Hey, holy shit. Can I Google it? No, wait, let me see. Israel and Iran are a pretty close match. Israel and Iran? Could see, maybe? Depending how much support they get. Oh, nice. They have it specifically. Ah, see, you have your HIMARS. You have your HIMARS. I prepared the HIMARS before the stream. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. A pararan. That's to say congratulations for going to the gym and being strong as fuck. Now I'm scared of you. Hezbollah vows to escalate war with Israel. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Strengthening UN peacekeepers. Oh, great. Hezbollah claims it launched a missile attack on northern Israel. Wait, this was an hour ago? This is 7 hours ago, so this was previously. New escalatory phase 3 hours ago with precision missiles in confrontation with Israel. Oh. Lebanese PM says he rejects Iranian interference in Lebanese matter. Oh man. It will escalate. Yeah, just I don't know. I feel shit we've seen before. Apart from Shimwa being killed, but like. Yep, I don't know. Australia is being useful. Thank you, Australia. Australia is actually doing rather good. So I was surprised by that. Completely honest. I was surprised by Australia being so active now. I don't know why. I kind of forgot about how good of an ally they are. Because they were a good ally before too. So them being a good ally now, like, it was a nice reminder. It's irrelevant if Israel and Islamic Republic are similar in power. They are like 2,000 kilometers away. IRGC launched the second biggest ballistic missile attacks in history and killed a total of 1 Jordanian and 1 Palestinian. Shit, yeah, that too. Okay, fair. Izrael bi trebao zbombardirat dronovske I raketne instalacije. Yeah, that too. I do wonder if what they're going to do will be just going full balls deep against Iran. Because it feels to me that in the current situation, like, why would you go around attempting to destroy Hezbollah and attempting to destroy Hamas if you don't also, like, cut off the head and go straight for Iran? So, but I don't know. I don't know what Israel is planning. BBC competes Putin. Yeah, that too. No, that too. I do think that them going balls deep would be if they do go balls deep, it would be interesting to see if they're willing to also take the condemnation that comes from Russia, because Russia would definitely respond if Iran were to get attacked. Yeah, absolutely. How was his mom? Iran is huge, not like a puny terrorist organization. True, but like, you'll never be able to destroy terrorist organizations properly if there's someone funding them, right? And if you have shown that you are able and willing to go to war with terrorist organizations, I feel... Oh my man, yeah, this video. I feel that, you might as well just go and destroy them outright. Because they're gonna come back as long as there's someone funding them. And yeah, there's gonna be someone funding them as long as Iran is, chilling there and in a relationship with Russia, trying to destabilize everything. Slip is seeing Cyrillics and immediately getting a traumatic response. Oh, that's silly. That is silly. I mean, I see it. The slippers. Hey, friendly fire! It says friendly fire. I'm able to understand that. Took me a while to decipher it. But I'm able to understand that. Yeah, please no hits on fellow Ukrainians. Cyrillics are not owned by Russia. I have been seeing a lot of Ukrainians on my Twitter talking about this recently, because there was a whole debate again about whether or not Ukraine should be switching to Latinx. And then the idea that them switching to Latinx would in a way be saying that Russia like owns Cyrillics in a way, and I'm not really sure you want to be giving them that sort of a victory. Yeah, can we chill with friendly fire? If y'all guys don't chill with friendly fire, you're taking the HIMARS taken away, alright? No, hey! Fucking cruel. Fucking cruel. I have 4 moderations, right? You can't even... Can't ban me from my own chat. But fair. I see it. It doesn't count as a friendly fire because I'm like basically a goat here. You need one more? No, I got 4. It says Wikidex currently has 4 moderation strikes. Each 3+ strike will mean a 5-minute timeout. So I already have enough to be timed out. It's just that I'm a god here. I'm a dictator. I'm a dictator basically. Yeah, just happy about seeing Rasta. Putin next. Now see, when we were talking about like the steps to be taken, I feel Iran is a step below Russia. I'm feeling like if we rely on Israel, to be doing the balls thing here and destroying terrorists, because obviously we ain't getting that from like Schultz. I'm feeling Iran is going to be the first step and then it's going to be Russians. But maybe after 10 strikes. Islamic regime, not Iran. Okay, yeah, proper. I understand that. Can I finish my argument? Wasn't your argument that like NATO military isn't strong? Isn't that the entire... Because I think that's the basis of your entire argument, isn't it? NATO military not strong, and NATO military, because not strong, is not going to be able to defend itself even if it goes balls deep into fighting with Russia supported coalition, which I do disagree with. I do fully disagree with that. I do think NATO military is immensely strong, and again, I do think the danger here is specifically coming from our lack of political will. The streaming has finally got a hit, man. Well, what can I say? It's what happens. Now I know how it happened with like Orban, you know, becoming more frog-like. You get too much power and then it like all gets into you and you're like, ho ho ho, no one can strike me down at this point. And no one can. You can't do shit to me. Like we should prevent the echo chamber. I'm half though on preventing the echo chamber. I'm half on it. Mostly because it is Twitch in the first place. It's like it's not like we are expecting, you know, too deep of debates happening on twitch.tv. Unless we wanna do we wanna do some proper debates? Do we wanna do some proper debates, guys? Do we wanna do some proper fighting? We could do some proper fighting. Where's Grisha when you need him? I wonder where Grisha is. I wonder if we could get him for another debate. Just so for like 2 hours we could show him pictures of Prigozhin getting barbecued. I would do that. I want to be doing that. I just want to be like, hey Grisha, look at your father figure. Where's daddy now? Turning in his grave because he raised a cuck little bitch. That's what he's doing. So I wanna do debates. What do we think about nukes for Ukraine? I'm supportive of it fully. Supportive of it 100%. I'm hoping that they already have the ability to start doing something in that. Jednako i za Australiju i Ukrajinu su limitacije stavljene na zapadnjačko oružje. Definitivno i to. Što uz to bile su limitacije stavljene na Izrael i Izrael nije poštovao limitacije i svejedno dobiva oružje i svejedno ubija teroriste. Tehnički, strateški, ne znam zašto se uopće ovo ispoštuje, ali dobro. The argument is we should go after the place producing the drones. When it comes to Iran, my argument is that you can't fully defeat terrorist groups that you know are getting funding from Iran. You can't fully defeat them without defeating Iran itself, because like you're just going to create new ones. So yeah, no, I think you can't. I think that you can go after the leaders, you can destroy the leaders, and by destroying the leaders, you are taking away a lot of the group's ability to act. But yeah, I do think that without cutting off the head of the fish, not really doing much, not really solving a situation. Twitch is a silly billy place for debates. The Asman Hassan cringes. Fucking Asmongold doing a political debate. Can you believe that? Asmongold. That was the funniest thing ever. I haven't even watched the debate yet. But I know he had some rather bad takes. But like Asmongold. Asmongold, isn't he like a gamer? What's he doing? And we're talking about a man who, like, 2 years ago, when people asked him, hey, Asmongold, what do you think about the Russian invasion in Ukraine? He was like, I'm a gamer, and I don't know why you want me to comment on this. And now he's like, yeah, Israel versus Palestine. Let me enter a debate with Hassan, out of all people, with Hassan. Fucking Hassan. That's insane. Hassan. Like, if he was some random ass other political streamer, I might understand this. But Hassan? You don't go debate Hassan unless you know how to manipulate people in a debate. Because he's really good at that. He has no good arguments. He's eating shit. But he knows how to manipulate you into saying stuff that's going to get you banned. Right? He knows what he's doing. He knew exactly what he was doing when he went to debate fucking Asmongold. He knew it. I don't know, it's just... Like, I think we all knew how it's going to end, and it did end that way. So yeah. Let's discuss why Putin is great and killing babies is actually a good thing. Yeah, no echo chambers. Israel, with relatively great freedom of action, is still going after the tiny Hamas 1 year after October 7th. Yeah. And managing to kill their leaders and to destroy the organization. Are we now doing the thing where, like, oh, one side is like, oh yeah, Israel is doing a genocide and flattening Gaza into rubble, and you're doing the, oh, Israel is unable to fight and it's so weak and it's not really doing anything? What are we doing? What are we doing here? Is Israel killing tons of people? Or is it not killing tons of people? Is it flattening Gaza into rubble, or is it not flattening Gaza into rubble? Or are we minimizing what they do? Are we being like, yeah, they basically did nothing? They basically... What are we doing? Like, what sort of an argument is that? I'm not really sure, like, what you're trying... What sort of a message you think that is sending? They're still not finished with Hamas? Yeah, Hamas that is within the civilian population of Gaza, that Israel is flattening, which is a horrible thing to have happened, absolutely, and plenty civilian lives have been lost, definitely. And in the same time, I think that minimizing this to try and claim that Israel is less efficient is not really... I don't really think you're having a realistic overview on this. Like, is the argument that in order to prove that they are strong, Israel should have flattened the entire Gaza in, like, what, a month to be strong enough in your eyes? Is that how you think warfare is done? Grisha is still collecting money for drones on Twitter. Grisha blocked me on Twitter. Can I be salty about? Piece of shit blocked... To be fair, now that I say it. I wanted to be angry. But what I was doing is that every time he was posting on Twitter, I would be like, guys, this man is a cock little pussy, and his father figure got barbecued, and then he sold his ass to Putin, like, a day after. You know, so, like, here's a reminder that this is a cock. So I understand why he banned me. I understand why he blocked me or whatever it is on Twitter, where, like, people get rid of you. I understand. I was annoying, and I wanted to be annoying because that's a little piece of shit. But still, I'm fucking blocked. I can't see what he's posting. And there was recently a whole thing uncovered with him fundraising for... Like, he writes your name on a rocket. And there was a whole thing with him having the same rocket several times, just with different writing on it. So he was scamming people. He would write whatever you wanted to be written, and he would wipe it off and then write something else. You know what I mean? So I wanted to see it, and I can't see it, because I'm blocked. I'm fucking blocked. Piece of shit. Now Elon Musk, though, is removing the thing, so people who have blocked you are not able to hide their posts from you, so I will be able to see what he's posting. But still, like, come on. Israel can't beat Hezbollah, even if they did have a real military advantage. I don't know if I would completely agree with that. Because I think there's a part in this strength that we imagine terrorist organization are having, right, when it comes to Hezbollah. It's the same with Hamas. And I think it's the same as with Russia, ultimately. It was an idea that they are stronger than they are because no one tried to wipe them out before. Right? It's like with Russia, how when Russia invaded Ukraine and everyone was like, oh no, Ukraine's gonna fall in 2 days. Ukraine's gonna fall immediately. It's going to surrender so quickly. We have to figure out ways that we are going to be dealing with a new Russian government in Kiev, right? And it's because no one tried to wipe out Russia before. No one tried to fight against them. And now people are fighting against them. And now you see that they're actually weak little bastards. And I'm kind of thinking the same is very likely to happen against terrorist groups that Israel is fighting currently. Like, we just didn't have political will to go and try to destroy them. And now there is will in Israel itself. And the more it wins and the more leaders of terrorist groups it kills, I think the will is going to become stronger. So we might actually be seeing them fall. It might be copium. I might be coping, but I'm hoping that it's, real. He's a content thief, Grisha? Oh yeah. He did drop a bit too broad of a bomb. I don't think he will completely get rid of them, even after defeating Iran. They'll be weak, but you don't want them coming back years or decades later. Oh yeah, but they will come back. I think... terrorist groups are going to be coming back. Holy shit, I missed so many messages. I'm just gonna, scroll down, repeat shit if it was important shit. Holy shit, because I'm, 50 messages down. I'm, a million messages down. Holy crap. What was this on? Israel can't beat Hamas unless it kills every last Palestinian, which it will try to do. I can agree that.
Share your thoughts. Did
I can
Crusaders
agree with
cause
that,
all
yeah.
this?
I do
Discuss.
think Israel is going to try very horrible means to try against terrorist groups. While they are efficient, I'm not arguing for them also being moral. Did Crusaders cause all this? Yeah. Yeah. I feel every big thing that happened in history somehow in a way caused this to happen, right? If you go deep into history enough, yeah. Because, why are we having the current situation? Because everyone's scared of World War II. Why did we have World War II? Because everyone was scared of World War I. So if you go deep enough into, what people were trying to avoid, and by trying to avoid it, they fucked up things even more. Yeah, I think you could possibly reach the time where you blame the Crusaders. Odgovor na to je genocid, a to nije najpametnija stvar. Definitivno. Znači, definitivno ako žele full pobijedit, morat će napraviti nešto grozno. Ne vjerujem im dovoljno da neće napraviti nešto grozno. Asking for my petak metak. Hey, no, today is a peaceful Friday. We're getting coffee and we're going to work in an hour. I'm going to cry. Just from the arrogance they have, US funding should stop and Israel should bear the costs alone from their fuck-ups. There you have the problem, though. You have the problem. And this is a problem that no matter who wins in the American elections, they're going to have to be dealing with. You have the problem of Israel willing to fight terrorist groups, which is a good thing on a global level, right? You want to destroy terrorist groups. You want them wiped out. Israel is efficient in fighting terrorist groups. Again, a good thing, right? But then also Israel is attempting a genocide. And you don't want that. You don't want to see them doing that. But then, how do you encourage them to go further in fighting terrorists while also ensuring that they don't hit civilians if they're not listening to you at all? Which they have shown that they're not really willing to listen to what we are telling to them. You pull out all the weapons, you have another problem, because these terrorists could overpower Israel. And then you have lost a very strategic point, a very important strategic point that you have. A very important ally is just gone. And not only is it just gone, another ally of yours losing? It means we're even more fucked as the Western world and everyone who relies on them. It means we're even more fucked. We have to be protecting Israel. If we want our global influence to still be seen as something that exists, we have to be protecting our allies. We have to be keeping the deterrent of what makes other countries scared of attacking our allies. World War II was caused because people were afraid of World War I? Yeah. So what you had is Hitler doing his attacks on European countries, and what you had was specifically, let me show you. What year was it? Munich. You write Munich. Munich. You don't write München. Munich betrayal. Munich agreement, known by pussies. Munich betrayal, known by everyone who had a mind. 1938. What happened is basically, at the time, Germans went after Czechoslovakia, part of Czechoslovakia, right? And now Hitler was like, guys, let me have this place. Let me have this place. Let me just have this territory and I will not attack more. Let me have this. I promise I will not go and I will not attack any more countries. Just let me have this. And what you had is debates in European circles of like, should we do this? He says he's gonna be nice. He says he's gonna be nice. He promises he's gonna be nice, right? Oh, and we just went out of a war. We just had a big and a bloody world war happening. Man, I'm not sure we want to be seeing another war happen again, right? I'm not sure we want to be seeing another war happening. What do we do now? Oh, you know what we do? We sign this and we allow him to take Sudetenland. We allow him to take the part he's occupying, and then we're gonna have peace. Yay! So what they did is they signed the Munich betrayal. You had people dancing in the streets. Yay! World War avoided, World War avoided. And what happens then is Hitler goes in and butchers a lot of our people. And it's the same thing you're going to see now if we push Ukraine into signing a deal with Putin, because like same bullshit. Oh, I just want to have these parts of Ukraine. Nothing else, I promise. Bullshit. Bullshit. He's bullshitting the same way. And we're going to be doing, I don't know, the Minsk betrayal, and then we're going to be seeing World War III play out right in front of our eyes. They want an international coalition to govern over Gaza and the hostages back. That's it. Nobody's trying to kill every Palestinian or occupy Gaza. I think, though, as long as they continue in their attacks on Gaza, I'm not really positive about their intent to lessen the amount of bloodshed in the area. Not too positive about what Israelis are doing when it comes to that. Like, they are efficient, but at the same time, I don't really think that they are fully moral in their drive overall. They were afraid of World War II, not World War I. I think that, yeah, I was meaning it more so like the trauma of World War I is what caused them to act irrationally, right? Because it is like you go through World War I, you are terrified. In the very much same way that I think people now are terrified. Like when you talk about the situation here in the Balkans, for example, a lot of people will be like, guys, no, we already had a war. We don't need another one. Like, you're terrified of something like that repeating. So you're trying so hard to be neutral and peaceful and isolated so it doesn't happen to you again. And you're kind of creating a situation where it will happen. Treaty of Munich was not because the Allies wanted appeasement, but they were not strong enough to stop Hitler at that point. I do disagree that they were not strong enough to stop Hitler at that point. I do fully disagree with that. No. I absolutely disagree with that. Rusija mora biti totalno uništena, definitivno, definitivno. Vjerojatno neće. Ali definitivno bi trebala. State of mind poison by Russia. Oh, Katzapeng, yeah. UK and France also did non-aggression pacts with Germany after Munich. Man, great. Fucking great. Incredible. Little to non-terrorist threats to the USA. Israel permanently ruined its reputation and drags down US reputation with it. US support for Israel is gonna die off when Zoomers get in office in 20 years. And Zoomers don't really get why US is caring so much about Israel. I think what you're doing is you're imagining that Zoomers are mentally retarded. I think that's what you're doing. You're imagining that they are like inherently mentally retarded as a generation, instead of understanding that young people tend to have lesser understanding of the political situation that goes on. Because USA support for Israel and the reasoning behind it is rather fucking clear. You know, it's not hard to understand why USA wants Israel to continue existing as a country. And I would argue it's not even hard to understand why it would be moral to defend the existence of Israel itself. So no, I don't think Zoomers getting into office are going to be the examples of, I don't know, university students protesting today or whatever the fuck you think is going to get into offices. I don't think that's going to happen. Plenty people already do understand. And I think even more will understand as time goes on, and they have to actually understand the complexities of foreign policies. Hey, yo, Fraku! But also, I do think that the danger of terrorist attacks against the USA is rather high. I do think, though, it's a similar threat to as to how Americans think that the possibility of them being attacked by Russia militarily is very low. I think the same situation happens when we talk about the possibilities of terrorist attacks against USA. Because I think the way they imagine terrorist attacks is not how a terrorist attack is going to happen. Like when you look at America of today, when you look at how many of your politicians, how many of your influencers, how many of your people in power have been bought by foreign agents, how many of them are directly working to destroy USA from within, I wouldn't really agree that there's no threat to USA. I just think that the way you understand threat to USA is like you imagine another 9/11 is going to happen. And that's not currently the way USA is being threatened. You're just blind to the real threat, which is USA rotting away completely democratically. I'm going to fucking die. My throat is so dry, I don't even know why. Been up all night. Oh shit, no, what time is it there? Holy crap. What do you expect from a Harris presidency in terms of Russia, Ukraine, Israel, China? I don't know if too much is going to change. Definitely better outcome than Trump winning, because I do think Trump winning is going to fuck everyone in the ass. So that's like the worst case scenario in my mind. I don't expect much changes for the better from Harris. I am hoping, though, if she manages to kick out certain people, that we could be seeing some positive steps. Americans don't care about other countries. I disagree with that. Every country has to have a stable foreign policy in order for it to be existing. America included in this. When you talk about like teenagers or whatever the fuck, or even younger people like still finishing their studies or whatever, yeah, most of them are rather uneducated in this, and a lot of them are uneducated on this even when it comes to questions of like, I don't know, other countries. Even when it comes to look at the young people in Croatia, you know how many young people I talk to who have no fucking idea what's going on politically. Like, try to do that shit. Try to do that shit. Because I usually do it. I mention to people that I'm live streaming, and they go, what do you live stream? Which game? And I'm like, politics. And what happens then is an attempt at conversation about politics. And what you are going to learn then is that young people know barely anything about politics. And I'm talking politics on a local level, politics on a foreign level, even less. They have no idea what's going on. And I do think this is a failure of our education, to be fair. I do support political education, getting into classes, starting elementary school, and staying there until high school is finished. I think every year you should learn more and more complex themes regarding the politics of your country and why democracy is so important. But a lot of them are just stupid as hell when it comes to politics, because they're not really interested, and we created a culture where this is not really interesting for them. And I think this is why people believe that, like, oh, when younger people get into offices, they're going to be so much different. It's because you imagine younger people just inherently don't give a shit about foreign politics. But that's not what's going on. It's just that their education didn't really push the topic onto them, and currently they have other things to be worrying about, so they kind of delegate politics to people who are a bit older and a bit more experienced. You are going to see more people who are now young getting more politically involved as time goes on. All people have sympathy for Israel because of World War II and Cold War inertia. No, I do think we should have sympathy for Israel, absolutely. I do think we should have sympathy for Israel, and I do think we should understand the importance of Israel itself. I think that understanding that Israel's policies have issues that must be dealt with cannot be compared to the idea of just abandoning Israel as a country. Hey, yo, Giga, yeah, you did. Holy shit, congrats. Congrats. Yeah, Trump is going to make things worse, definitely. I'm voting heavily for Tampon Tim if I'm feeling really emotional sometimes. Oh, he's incredible, though. He is an incredible man. Truly, I'm more interested in him than I am in Harris, because I think Harris is like trying to be kind of a bipartisan choice for a politician, you know, like someone that both sides are able to support. And I think Waltz at the same time is just trying to like be really supportive of that, while being one of the most interesting people that America has ever had on a political scene. You guys are so fucking interesting when it comes to that. Man's incredible, by the way. She will give more leeway to Israel and slowly distance herself from Ukraine. See, I think that would be a bad course of action. I think that would be an idiotic course of action even. I think that would be idiotic. And I'm hoping that she's not stupid enough to do something like that. Because distancing from Ukraine means giving a victory to Russia. What is the point in allowing Israel to do more in fighting terrorists if you are handing a victory to Russia, which directly supports Iran, which directly supports terrorist groups attacking Israel? Know what I mean? Like, what's the point? What's the point? It's just doing bullshit at that stage. So no, I don't really think that she's going to be doing that. I think that would be rather dumb. We'll be able to make small deals with local small terrorist gangs who keep the hostages in turn for giving them immunity. Oh, hey, good luck. Good luck with that, I guess. Podcasts like Tim Pool's and Tucker Carlson's are some of the most watched in the US, and they tie back to Russia. That absolutely. And then also, wasn't it uncovered that Jordan Peterson himself is being funded by Russia Today? Is that what I saw today? It was 2 individuals being funded by Russia Today specifically. I'm pretty sure one of them was Jordan Peterson. because it surprised me. I didn't expect him on there. I don't know why, I just didn't expect it. Oh, Peterson and Tucker Carlson. Yeah, true. Thank you. Yeah, those two fuckers. Wasn't shocked by Tucker Carlson because he fell off. He fell off, and I understand that he desperately needed some cash money. But Peterson? I don't know. I was kind of surprised about that. Not even sure why. I just was. Support for Ukraine reached the high point in 2023, and now due to the political infiltration in US, it's wearing down. Yeah, but I do think it would be a stupid decision, and I'm kind of trying to hope that Kamala, if she gets into power, she's not going to be pursuing isolationism as USA is currently pursuing. I'm hoping she's going to be trying to do something smarter. I'm hoping that she's going to be like actually making America great instead of allowing the American influence to, fall apart. That's what I'm hoping for. Might be hopium though, because I genuinely don't know. I don't know what to expect from her. We're seeing lots of people being like, no, she's gonna be the same as Biden, and then you have other people being like, no, she's similar to Biden now in rhetoric. Like, because she is a Democrat, he's a Democrat, she can't really go fully against him. But when she gets in power, she's going to be able to, like, go more her own way. So we're kind of hoping to see some changes when she actually, gets the lead. So I don't know how much I trust that she's going to do anything good. I do know that she's a way better option than Trump ever will be, though. Iran is really fucking close to getting a nuke, and there were reports of Russia sharing with them nuclear secrets. Yeah, I think an American leader able to go tough on Iran would be the same thing as an American leader being able to go tough on Russia itself, which is something that I hope we can see happen in near future, but also I'm not really positive about. No, guys, I'm not really buying into the idea of Kamala being that. You know what I mean? I'm kind of concerned that on that front we'll be mostly relying on non-USA NATO members. It would be wild if Peterson was funded by Arte, given his deep hatred of communism and the USSR. Yeah, but you see, the thing is, Peterson has pissed on basically every single value that he ever had. So at this point, I don't trust in him being anti-everything. I don't trust in him in any of the views he expressed in his lifetime. And it's been a thing since years ago. When was that clip? When was that clip of him saying that women wearing makeup in the workplace are the reason why men sexually harass them? You know what I mean? Someone asked them, and he didn't outright say it, because that's what Jordan Peterson does. He's a slimy little piece of shit. So he won't say things, but he alludes to them, right? So what he does is he goes, oh yeah, well, there's a lot of harassment in the workplace, yeah, but have you ever thought about how many women wear high heels and makeup in the workplace? And you know that those are meant to arouse men sexually. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that they're at fault. I'm just saying. Yeah, see that when you mentioned Peterson's message of cleaning up your room, the idea that you as a man are a stupid little dog who sees a woman wearing lipstick and you have to go hump her because you're just a stupid little dog unable to control yourself. This goes directly against the idea you should clean up your room. Because cleaning up your room, the entirety of the book, I don't know if you read the book. The entirety of the book is basically you have to take responsibility for yourself and for your actions. Right? That was the idea. You have to take responsibility. You can't blame everyone else in your life. It is your responsibility to be a good person. It is your responsibility to put your life in order. It is your responsibility to clean your fucking room. And that was a good idea. But then the second he started being like, is it men's responsibility to control themselves? Or is lipstick just so much alluring that men are too stupid to, avoid it? I think this is where it became obvious that he's like straying away from his initial ideas and he's going full into the grifter territory. So he went into the territory of, this is what my fans want me to say, so I'm just gonna say it. And this is why you see him shitting on his own ideas, and this is also why now him getting money from Russia, it wouldn't surprise me 1 second. I don't think that man's anti-communist. I don't think he's anti-anything, really. I don't think he has an ideology apart from saying shit that makes people cheer for him. Kind of like Elon Musk, similar to Elon Musk. I don't think Musk has an ideology. Musk is there to get attention, and that's that. He doesn't know what he believes in. He hasn't looked into it. He just wants people to be like, yeah, you're so smart, holy shit. That's what both of them are doing. Either of them getting cash money from Russia would not be a betrayal of any of their previous ideals because they don't have any previous ideals. They left them all in the dirt years ago. Yeah, Peterson, absolutely fell off. Because like the book itself is already a bit sussy. The one about cleaning a room. 12 rules for life or something? I don't remember. It's already a bit sussy, but not horribly sussy. But then when you see that now he's betraying even that? Ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. Nie ma puno reći sa Žižekom. Yeah, that was another thing. That's one of my favorite debates of Peterson to watch. Because he was so outmatched by Žižek. He was so fucking outmatched. I swear to God, if he had a point where he went fully into questioning his own ability to cosplay as an intellectual anymore, it was after he had a debate with Žižek, because he was so stupid in that debate. He was incredibly idiotic in that.
Prokuthi God Redeemed, share your thoughts. What do
Trade
you think
between
about
an
the
arms
trade
dealer
between
for
an
a
arms
basketball
dealer
player?
for a
Oh.
basketball player? How do you feel about that?
I think USA should be protecting their own citizens, and I can't fully blame them for wanting to protect their own citizens and for wanting them to be brought back from Russia. From the point of, like, from a global point, sure. But from the point specifically of USA itself, it makes sense that you want your citizen back. This is your citizen. You want to protect them. You want to show to the world that you care about your own people. So I think I can't fully blame them for it. I can blame them for allowing certain other Americans to be chunked into prison in Russia and tortured. Sure. But like, if USA wants to pursue a course of action that is, we're getting our people back from Russia, I don't really know how much I can blame them for it. If an USA citizen is stupid enough to go to Russia for any reason, apart from family and official work, you should leave them in Russia. Yeah, but then it kind of reaches the situation where it's like, are you as a country seen as a political actor willing to protect your citizens? What sort of a reaction would a country caring about its citizens be making, really? It's kind of a point where it's, I think it's almost Machiavellianism at that point. Like, if you would leave your citizens in a Russian prison because you don't want to be trading your Russian prisoners for them, it's almost Machiavellianism. It's almost like, I'm willing to betray certain of my civilians. I'm willing to let them stay in Russia because I'm not willing to sacrifice what I have. I'm not willing to sacrifice the fact that I have people close to Putin, people close to KGB maybe, people who are arms dealers who might have very important connections. I'm not willing to do the sacrifice. So I'm okay with allowing my people to be there in prison I'm okay with essentially what is betraying them as a country. And I understand why USA didn't really feel like making that decision. He was just bullied by woke people, and his ex-daughter, being a trans woman, makes his ideology like woke people bully me. I hate woke people. Yeah, it could be that too. It's like the whole thing with like with Trump fans going, oh yeah, we're gonna vote in for Trump because we are so hyped to see Democrats crying about losing. You know, it's like stick it to the Dems, and that's that. That's the entirety of the argument. They don't even believe Trump is going to be good. So I could see that. Official work means government or pseudo-government duty. Oh, so like if they go for sports, then it doesn't count? I would like to see USA taking their people back from Russia the way Israel was taking their citizens from Hamas. See, that would be like a step more in the... what's the word? Escalation direction, which I would welcome. I would welcome if USA was like, you know what? Just full fucking sanctions. Full fucking sanctions, not just on Russia, but on every single European company working with Russia. We just sanction all of you fucktards. Because they could do it. They proved they can do it back when Nord Stream 2 was being built. I don't know if you remember that, but Nord Stream 2 was being built by a Swiss company. And USA was like, we're going to sanction you. We're going to sanction every single company working on this project. Like, none of you are getting business with USA. And the Swiss company was like, you want to do this, you cowards. So they continued building it, and USA did sanction them. And financially, it dealt such a blow to them that they had to abandon the project before it was built to the end. Russians finished the project because the Swiss had to opt out. So I think if USA wanted to like go a step higher, it could have been like, oh, you're holding our civilian in your prison, Russia? Cool, we're sanctioning every single piece of shit having any sort of business with you. It would give an incentive not just for Russia to stop with their bullshit, but also for European companies to stop working with Russia because they would be fearing the financial outcomes of this, right? But it's not really what we saw happen. We saw USA trying to do the softer approach, and it's not really something that I support. I understand why they did it, I don't support it. De-dollarization and the Trump plan to put tariff on countries abandoning dollar for international trade. I think Trump is able to say a lot of stupid things, and I don't really think he's thinking them through, so I don't think it's going to be... I don't really think it's going to be smart. Let's say it like that. I don't think it's going to be as effective as he thinks it is. But I'm not really also assessing the threat of de-dollarization, but I think it's mostly because the threat of it has been raised so many times and nothing really happened that I'm not really buying into it at this point. I don't think it's going to happen. It's like the threat... I had a conversation recently with a Croat about this who wanted Croatia to leave European Union. And his idea was that he wants us to leave European Union because European Union is on the brink of a financial ruin, which it wasn't. And it isn't. You know, it's just a hysterical thing that people complain about every fucking year at this point. We're doing fine. USA is doing fine. The dollar is doing fine. Sure, Trump, if in power, and if supported by enough Russian agents, he could be creating a worse situation. But right now, I'm not really buying the fears of that. If the US against Russia was like Israel, Putin would have taken all of Ukraine and the Baltics. All Israel does is appeasement. I don't really think Israel does appeasement, to be honest. I don't really know if I would buy that. Svi se voze novim autima jer ispekaju naručuju pizza. No, neironično. Ali neironično. Like I work in a store. I work in a retail store. You'd be surprised you'd be fucking surprised. We got pensioners crying about like their pensions being low, and they buy like 3 to 4 cigarette boxes daily. Just buying fucking cigarettes. They come every morning, they get bread, they get shit for their sandwich, they get whatever they're going to have for lunch. They get a bunch of cigarettes, they smoke the cigarettes, they come in the evening, they buy some alcohol, they buy more cigarettes. People are living fine. It really reminds me, I don't know if you've ever... Do you have relatives in Germany? Not Germany, Slovenia. Because I had a similar situation, and it always reminds me of that. In early 2000s, when Slovenia went into European Union, they were doing so well economically. And I'll never forget, at one point, I went to my relative's house for a vacation in Slovenia. And for our lunch, it was like, oh, well, the financial situation is so bad. The finances are so bad. Yeah, we don't know how we're going to be paying our bills this month. It's so bad. They built an entire new floor to their house. They put new fucking furniture in it. They had a new car at the time. We're talking a family where you have father and mother working and you have 3 kids under the roof. In a year, new fucking floor, new furniture, new car, and you dare to tell me you don't know how you're gonna be paying your stupid bills? Bullshit. Just bullshit. And at the time, it was even like more insulting to me because we here, in my situation, like we moved back into this village after the war ended. We had to fix the entirety of the house. So the house was completely destroyed by Serbs because when they were occupying the village, they had an outpost here and they were retarded. So they didn't keep anything proper. They destroyed the water installations. They had like places in the middle of the rooms where they would just set the fire because they didn't know how to use central heating. So they would just light the fire in the middle of the room to keep warm. And of course, it destroyed like fucking everything in the room. So at the time, we had to fix all of it. Of course, we got some state help. But we had to fix all of it. We were living on like onions that we grew in the garden. We were living on potatoes that we grew. We had like a part of what is now a backyard with grass. It was just like us growing stuff to eat because we didn't have money because we had to put so much into the house, right? And then you go there and it's like people with fresh new brand furniture, fresh new brand car being like, oh, I don't know. Well, how do I pay for bills this month? I don't know. Just so stupid. So fucking stupid, man. I have no idea. Je, penzije sam ali skupo, ali nije da ljudi umiru od gladi. Ne, definitivno. Živi se i ide se u redu, realno. Ne vidim toliko mučenja koliko bi očekivao. So I'm genuinely like not buying it. It always reminds me, not what it always reminds me, of this Twitter thing where every once in a while someone from America is going to be like, oh guys, it's so expensive living in America. I have no money. It's so expensive. I have to pay like $100 for groceries this week. And then they publish the receipt and it's like they bought some fancy ass meat that could feed an entire family of 5 for like a month. They bought that bullshit. Or like people going, oh yeah, it's so expensive to get your lunch. It's so expensive. I had to pay so much money. And then it turns out that they had like a meal, fast food meal delivered to their house. So you have to pay for the meal, plus you have to pay for the delivery. Like, of course, it's going to be expensive as shit. Who the fuck does house deliveries? Are you insane? That has always been a thing for the rich people. Even fast food itself. Like when I was a kid, going to fast food, it was a birthday thing. You go to McDonald's for your birthday and maybe for Christmas. And maybe because for Christmas your parents already spent so much money on getting everyone presents that they don't even have money for McDonald's. It was like, whoa, we're going to McDonald's? Holy shit. What's going on? Like, is this some sort of a celebration? And now people just have that shit delivered to their home and then they bitch about having no money. I'm just salty about it. Also, the ever-going debate about whether or not it's cheaper to cook your meals at home or to buy them. I'm so salty about it. Genuinely so salty about it. Every once in a while someone starts a debate of like, well, is it more affordable to people to go to fast food and to buy hamburgers than it is for them to go to a store and buy groceries and then to prepare them? What do you think is cheaper, you fucking idiot? What do you think is cheaper? How are you so stupid to even ask that question? 1 kilo of potatoes used to be like 49 cents in the store close to my house. 49 cents for 1 kilo. You know how much 1 kilo of potatoes is? You go to McDonald's. What are you getting for 49 cents? You're not getting small Coca-Cola for that money. I feel we're so spoiled. I feel we're so spoiled and we're so stupid. I feel we're just idiotic. Just idiotic on that. Consumerism is good for economy. If everyone is like you, we would have recession. I don't know. Not sure we would. Because like you still have stuff that you have to be buying regularly, right? You still have stuff that you have to be buying. And of course, I'm not arguing that you should be hoarding money just forever. There's no use for that. You should be spending your money, really. I do argue you should be spending your money. Live a good life. But the fact that we present it as some sort of like an economical crisis attacking your country, it's not really ongoing. I think genuinely a lot of people are just kind of stupid about the ways that they spend cash. I need a taxi for my burrito. Yeah, no, genuinely. When McDonald's opened in my hometown, it was that cheap for a while. Ours was relatively cheap in early 2000s. It was relatively cheap. Like for the... How do I say this? Compared to cooking at home, it was expensive. But compared to McDonald's today, it was cheap as shit. So, yeah, I see that. Fuck, where was I? They have much more disposable income than we. No, definitely, that too. Man, just absolutely. I can't really take it seriously, the whole thing of like, oh, there's going to be economical crisis. Oh, European Union is going to fall apart. Bitch, come on. As long as I walk into the city and I see that all fast food shops are full, I see all of them are having a bunch of people inside. I see they're having takeouts. I see Glovo bicycles outside because they're taking the orders. As long as I see that, we ain't having no economical crisis. Once that stops, then we can expect some sort of chaos to be happening. But no. If no one consumes, no one will invest. Oh yeah, I'm not arguing that we shouldn't be consuming. I'm just arguing that a lot of these complaints are made by people who you will learn are people who can't spend that money wisely. You know? Like truly, whenever you see people complaining about USA going to reach economical ruin in the next like few months or whatever, whenever you see people fear-mongering about that, you're going to learn that these people are very crappy about the way they manage their money. And that's why they believe everyone else is, and that's why they believe USA is going to fall apart. And I think the same can be seen in Europe too. Whenever you see someone saying that European Union is going to crumble, just ask them why they believe this. Because it is very likely they believe this based on anecdotal experiences. And it is very likely that these experiences come from them being absolutely stupid about what they do with their cash. Rich could leave the country and go live elsewhere. That would definitely send the country in an economic crisis. I can see that. Lowering their standard of living, which a lot of people, for whatever reason, can't do. I mean, I see why it would be how do I say this? Tough decision. You get used to a certain standard, and I understand why you wouldn't want to be lowering it. And I understand why you would expect the government to keep you in a situation where if you hold the same job continuously, you can upkeep a certain standard of living and you shouldn't be forced to be lowering it. I can understand that. But then also I understand that sometimes you just have to accept that we are a part of a society in a way, right? Like when it comes to, for example, the raising prices of resources from Russia. And a lot of people were like, oh no, the heating is so much more expensive this year. Oh, like, yeah, this is one of those situations where it just sucks. It absolutely sucks. And you'll have to learn how to manage your money for a while before we get back on track. The solution to this is not to say, oh, I want to keep my standard of living constant, so I want us to allow Russia to go and defeat Ukraine, the way we allowed Russia to go and defeat Georgia, the way we allowed Russia to go and bomb Syrians, and now this is why we have the refugee crisis ongoing, because we just allowed it and turned a blind eye to it. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you have to understand that your country is a part of a bigger global society, and certain things just have to be happening on a global scale. Fucking their own industries, making them less competitive? Wait, isn't it true that we didn't ban ICE cars after 2035? Isn't it true that that decision got overturned? Because I'm pretty sure it was true that the decision got overturned. But personally, I was supportive of the ban. I'm supportive of us making changes regarding regarding saving the environment overall. I'm supportive of it, and I do think European Union has the funds and has the ability to still keep the market competitive and to still keep our industries competitive while ensuring that we go in a proper direction. I'm sure European Union does have the ability to do that. I just think it comes to our political will again, because it's a very similar situation to us leaving the Russian market and stopping the use of Russian resources. Because for a very long time we had the funds, we had the plans, we had the projects to start using more renewable sources of energy. We just didn't do anything about it. We had experts going on TV shows as early as in, I think, 2020s, talking about how for about 10 years they had these projects readied out on how to be using more renewables on a local level, right? And just nothing was done about it. There was no impetus to move in the right direction. So I think it would be good to have an impetus, and I think a good impetus is, banning the production of new horrible cars after 2035. I think it would be alright. Ayo, Snack Bar, I'm from Croatia. EU-China decoupling? I support European Union itself being self-sustainable. I think that's what we should focus on when it comes to China. I think rather than focusing on removing ourselves from the Chinese market, I think we should focus on us being self-sustainable and not needing China in the first place. So I don't really think we should do a move away from China as strongly for now. I don't think economically it would be that smart, but I do think that we can transfer a lot of production to our states. China is ahead of EU cars with EVs. I think we could have been good with electric vehicles too, though, if we put enough money into it. I think we could have been good. It may be good for EU to transition to EV since they have no oil. I think the same move in the US is kind of dumb since they have tons of oil. Could see that, but you could still be using oil for other purposes. So I think it's more about the viability of the switch itself, because oil is still going to be used. Oil is still going to be a benefit on a global scene, right? You can still export it and get a lot of cash money. Yeah, Germany did move backwards. That's true. That's true. EU didn't use the Green Deal to invest and push for green tech and products. Yeah, we were very stupid about that. We were very, very stupid about that, and I do think those decisions could have been made way earlier. But also at the same time, I'm kind of a conspiracy girl on this. I do think a lot of it has to be coming from the situation that we wanted to be reliant on ourselves. I think we wanted to be more dependent on Russia. I think that our politicians have been pushing in that direction for a long time. So I'm not really beefing with the Greens as much as I'm beefing with like basically everyone for allowing this to be going on for as long as it has. Why do they support such bans, and why can't they just burn fossil fuel and do carbon capturing? How effective is carbon capturing? More than half new cars sold in China are now electric or hybrid. See, that's what we should be having. That's what we should be having. We should be having the same shit. We should be having the same thing. We didn't, because we're idiots. China produces most batteries. China supports Russia. Banning ICE supports Russia. I mean, in a situation where I think China is pulled between Europe and Russia, I think choosing the European market would be a smart decision, wouldn't it? But then also it depends on whether they want to have a stronger economy or if they want to have a dictator in power, because the dictator in power is going to choose the alliance with the other dictator in power. A lot of politicians in the West want Russian gas and oil tit in their mouth. Yeah. I think it fucked us up, because we could have also had most of our cars being electric vehicles or hybrids. We just chose not to because we wanted Russia to get our money, and now we're here. So yeah. When an electric car starts to burn, it's nearly impossible to extinguish it. Oh yeah, definitely. There's definitely problems with electric vehicles that need to be sorted out. I do think they would have been sorted out a while ago if we weren't stupidly refusing to move in the direction of like focusing on this production specifically. Oh, there's no good carbon capture technology? Ah shit. Only us then. China is strongly putting money in electric car production to infiltrate Western market. Yeah, I'm angry that we didn't do that. Know what I mean? I'm angry we didn't do that. Why didn't we do that? Why didn't we fund more of it? Was China able to do it and we were just like eating shit on the side? We should have been doing that. Like, we saw this move was going to happen. We knew that this was going to happen and we just, I don't know, did nothing. Just ban gas cars within city centers and make it electric only zone. I unironically support shit like that. I unironically support making city centers like bike and walkable zones only without cars. Unironically, I think it's a good idea. I'm GG with that. I would. If there's a politician pushing for that, I'm voting for them. I'm GG with that. Cars made in Croatia. We have Rimac actually, who's rather good on the market. Oh, you were not? Oh, nice. I never know with people here, but like, yeah, I genuinely thought it was a good idea. We have Rimac. Automobili. Do you guys know about Rimac? And this is Nevera. This is his fresh one. Look at it. Look at this. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. So we have that. Rimac Automobili. Here it is. Automotive manufacturer develops and produces electric sport cars. Yeah, a lot of people poor enough to never be able to buy an electric sport car have never heard of them. Well, it's a strong thing. It's a strong thing. Look at this. Rimac Automobili's first model, Concept 1, was the world's fastest production electric vehicle. Like, we're good. We're good when it comes to that. So yeah. Shady true. But also I'm hoping that we get... I'm hoping something like this being strong on the market encourages more like it happening, you know what I mean? And also it's Croatia, everyone's gonna be shady. We're gonna have some sort of corruption at all points. Less pollution makes people more productive. Yeah, that too. No, I think we should have. It kind of seems stupid that like 20 years ago we weren't funding this more. You know what I mean? Why weren't we? And we could have, and we just didn't. It's so stupid. We needed to make audio media for his factory, but they selected someone else. Oh, bastards! Bastards! Just cheated you out of cash. Buying Tesla in Europe and then delivering it to Ukraine is cheaper than buying it in Europe. Because buying it like directly? EVs are very heavy, not as fun to drive. Guys, I'm gonna be honest, I'm poor. I've never tried. Just full honestly. My real life experience with electric vehicles comes from like one Tesla that I see in the city regularly. He seems cool though. He seems cool. I like that car. It's a very visible car. Just looks. You see him. You fucking see that one. You know, you're not mistaking him for another vehicle around. And overall, I'm GG with shit like that. And I don't really think you notice him doing anything different on the roads than any other car existing. So I don't know how much the weight itself makes a difference. I do wonder though, like if they are heavy enough in order to need to make a change in driving, like would we expect different driving classes for them specifically, or how does that go? Or is it like the weight difference that matters to car nerds, but it doesn't really matter to car drivers? Orban? Oh, I didn't see, but I'm pretty sure it's nothing useful. He's frightened. We need to move towards a peaceful strategy instead of a war strategy. Yeah, of course, he's eating shit. Not too surprised, I'm gonna be honest. Not too surprised about this. Man. It's up to Vicky so she can buy a sports car. True. Come on. Electric costs too much. You can get premium ICE car. Yeah, sure, but like, why would you do that? You can just get an electric. I suppose that's a lot more. He wants to make Putin happy? No, definitely. It's surprising to me that we're even talking about him. Seriously. The weight is going to affect everything. It's worse for the roads and it's bad for agility of the car. Yeah, but like, is it bad for agility in a way that you need to have a specific driving license for them? Or is it bad for agility in a way that, you know, like you drive cars normally? Like, I don't know, I've driven, I'm now driving Mercedes, a tiny one, A-Class. I used to be driving a Golf 1, that was my first car ever. And I used to be driving Opel Astra, but like the big one, the big one, the caravan one, just huge. And all of them sit differently on the road, and all of them are different to, you know, be maneuvered. You don't need a different driving license for them because it's basically just like you kind of sit in a car and you figure out how it moves and you learn. So as long as the electric vehicle is in line of that, I don't really care that it's like has different agility of the car, because that's what normal cars have. If you've driven more than one type of a car in your life, you know that the different cars just sit on the road differently. Oh, I didn't have a Yuga, I had Golf 1. I'm actually really sad that we fucked it up, because it was the first car that me and my brother had, and we didn't know how to take care of him. So we fucked it up. We fucked up the motor completely. And I'm really sad about it. Like, he was really good. He was really, really, really good. I kind of miss him. I kind of want, if I ever have enough money, I want to buy one just like that. He was a really, really cool car. When you lift off the gas, it feels more like braking than slowly decelerating. Oh, yeah. But you also have differences like that in normal cars, don't you? like, I don't know, whenever I drive a car that my family has, like I need to repark it or something, it's always like, oh, you gotta like do little tests of how different it reacts to certain things than the cars you usually drive. It's a normal thing. So as long as electric vehicles fall within that normal like difference, I don't really care about it that much. A-class Mercedes, very good for summers. He's trying his best. They destroy the road because they're so heavy? But then also, like, would you... I mean, it depends on where you live in, I guess. But for me, it's not really a big argument because we do have a lot of delivery vehicles driving around. A lot of, the fuck is coming on, trucks. A lot of trucks driving around. So the roads already have to be repaired regularly. So just repair them regularly and that's that. I don't really see a problem with that, to be honest. I don't know. I feel it's one of those things where, like, you know what it reminds me of? Of European Union making it so that every electric device, every mobile phone has to have that one like specific USB port so we can all use the same charger, right? And the European Union pushed for this, and I remember having someone in my chat at the time, I don't know who it was, who was like, well, no, because some of these USBs are actually faster and some of them are slower. But it's like, it's such a tiny difference that it genuinely doesn't matter. I don't give a shit about that. I think the law is good. I think what European Union did regarding that is good. Some of them being like that tiny fraction faster, it doesn't really matter to me. I don't think it's a meaningful thing. Oh no, how was it? Someone who does like professional photography and they have to transfer really huge files, they're gonna be having to wait a little bit more for their files to be transferred. I genuinely don't give a shit. I genuinely don't give a shit. I think overall it's a good thing and it's a good rule to demand, so we don't have to buy a new fucking charger for every phone that we have. I don't give a shit that someone doing professional work is gonna have to wait a little bit more for their humongous files to transfer. I don't think it makes a difference. Any American care to explain the country obsession with big cars? I have a theory that Americans have statistically the smallest dick existing in the universe. They just don't want to let us know about that. Like when they talk about their sizes, they lie. I think they're all lying. I think they're intentionally like coveting them to different measuring system so they can lie about how big the size is, you know? Like they do inches, they do centimeters, they switch back to forth until they reach something that resembles the average. But in reality, it's like most of them have what is basically a cloaca, and that's why they need to have humongous cars. That's my theory. I'm just saying. No, but like genuinely, come on. Have you seen their stupid thing with like having cars that produce as much pollution as available and then they flex with it? That's a cloaca thing to do. That's a cloaca thing. But that's also a good thing to point out because like new cars are also just EVs are 10 to 15% heavier, which is just like a big American truck. Yeah, so it's the same shit. Unless you would also ban big American trucks from being on the road, it's like the same shit, isn't it? Measuring centimeter wrote down result in inches. Yeah. And then you submit it to like official statistics and they're like, oh, surely this number is in inches. And they convert it back to centimeters. And then they add some length. That's what happens. The residual brain rot from when we had leaded gasoline could be that too. We could blame Russians for it somehow, I'm pretty sure. Hey guys, I have to leave though. It's my work starting soon. I got my work starting soon. I have to go. Listen, good chat. I'm very happy we learned so many interesting things today, including the fact that Americans have tiny dicks. I had lots of fun. My car is average. One size is average. What about the other one? Yeah, had lots of fun, had lots of discussions. Happy that we learned something. So yeah, I will be, you know what I'm really interested in? Looking into the international nature of that Italian law That's still on my mind. I do still wonder how they're going to push for that. Because I do support the law itself, but I do wonder how they're going to push for Italian people to be punished when they come back to Italy if they try to pay for a child in a third world country. I do wonder how that's going to go. So I'm going to try to research that over the weekend. Next week, I am probably still working the same shift as this week, afternoon one. So that means that we're going to be doing streams in the morning again. So yeah, good luck with that. Prepare your coffee and yeah, we'll be seeing each other. Every time a woman from European Union comes to America, they end up applying for a permanent visa. So I doubt American men are liking anything. Well, first of all, America is like, how do you guys call yourselves? A mix of cultures. You have a word for that. You have a word for that. It is food related. But I would love to say that when you say American man, I very much doubt you're saying American man, like American man. I think you're saying about melting pot. Yeah. I think you're talking about people who came from like Italy or something and are now technically considered Americans while they're not really Americans. It's very similar, I think, to when our women come to Germany. And then in Germany, they find another Balkan man and then they stay in Germany and, stay in Germany forever. And you could, from the statistics of this, say, oh, a lot of Balkan women go to Germany and then meet German men and they stay with them. But I'm gonna be fully honest with you, that's not really what's going on. That's not really what's going on. Very tiny amount of our women would go to Germany and find German men so alluring to want to stay. It's mostly our own men who are already there, so we stay with them. Not food related? I always had the idea it was food related because there is another one. Aren't there like two food related terms for when cultures are mixing? We learned about this in high school, specifically in the example of USA. And it was like one of them where they all mix into one, and the other one where they like stay separate, but they're still mixed in the same bowl. I don't know if that makes sense. Because I remember we talked about this, and I remember it was like both were food-related terms, and both were used on the example of USA. Yeah, but I don't know. So hidden a German construction site. The Baustelle. Hey, I have to go. I have to actually leave. See you Monday. Prepare your coffee for Monday. If you have any laws you would be discussing or moral issues you want me to be bitching about, let me know. I'll look into the terms. I genuinely don't remember the terms. I'll probably have it written down somewhere. I just remember one was like, when new people come in, we mix them in and they become a part of a whole. And the other one was like, when new people in, it's like a salad, more of a salad thingy, where all pieces of the salad are still, different pieces. But they're mixed in one salad. But it doesn't mean that they become the same thing. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm gonna be Googling it. Having to drive to work now, so stay